Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Unpopular Review. I know this show wasn't really planned, but with the aftermath of the releases today, we thought it would be uh, most most best, I guess, to come on here and talk about it. So, unfortunately, I've been partnered once again with Caden Dirt Sheets. I'm sure he's been all over this all day. Caden, since I'm a polite person, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm not happy with the news. It's always sad to see wrestlers getting released, whether you like them or not, whether you think they're good or not. It's still not the greatest thing in the world to see this happening. So I'm going to keep it civil today. There's a lot more pressing matters than our beef. Let's get into this. Let's talk about these wrestlers.
Right. So when it comes to the releases, I'm gonna go ahead and dive into some tweets that we have here. Immediately following the wrestler releases, we have Mickie James who said, and I quote, "Grateful for the memories, grateful for the locker room, grateful for the fans, grateful for those little keys to my golden handcuffs. You can never expected others' vision of you to be as big as your own dreams." I'm sure that was probably a typo. Thank you, Vince McMahon. Hashtag always blessed and grateful. So Mickie James definitely taking this, sort of lightheartedly, not sort of okay. That was, um, Mickie James definitely not too upset about this. I'm sure this is something that she may or may not have seen coming. She was on the NXT Takeover pre-show for the past 2 days, or not the past 2 days, last week on Wednesday and Thursday. So kind of weird to have that and then just to release her. But it didn't really seem like they were doing anything with her anyway. So it's probably
Yeah, David, real quickly, let's run through the list of everybody who got released.
right. So as of right now, we have as far as the list for everyone that got released, we have give me a second. We have Samoa Joe, Billie Kay, Mickie James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Wesley Blake, I believe Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Peyton Royce have been released as well. We don't know if this is the last of these releases. There could be more to come. When Black Wednesday happened on this day, last year, there were over 20. God damn it, Steven. Tucker was not released. He's been repackaged at Cameron Grimes. Oh my God, man. So yeah, what is one of the takeaways from this release group to you, Kaden, and what is someone you think shouldn't have been released? Maybe besides Billie Kay, because I know a lot of people were upset about Billie Kay.
Yeah, this was actually, I mean, some people, we've been talking for a few weeks about maybe Tucker, Bo Dallas, Kalisto being released in the sometime near future. It seems like now is the time. So, I mean, those were people that aren't too surprising. In terms of, I'll talk about those people for a minute. Tucker's disappointing because of how they booked him the last year. I really enjoyed Heavy Machinery with Otis, and they were doing good stuff together. So it's a little disappointing that he got relegated to being knockoff Raw Cameron Grimes and hasn't done anything in 6 months since he turned on Otis. That had no blow off whatsoever. They never even finished that feud. They just had it kind of go away. So that's one of the disappointing ones in terms of I think he actually did have potential in that tag division, which is a very weak division. A similar story with Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas was very over in NXT. I never saw him as a star like a lot of other people did, but he was talented. While I think he's definitely going to be better off not sitting on his couch, which I know he was very happy with. I think that article came out a month or two ago that he was very happy with what he was doing. So I mean, I hope he's happy. Hopefully, he can go do some indie dates, go work ROH, possibly MLW. That's someone who I actually am not. I don't have a huge problem with this because he can go work some solid indie dates and get some ring work going on.
Tucker,
Bo Dallas.
Okay, I was gonna say you mean Cameron Grimes, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Bo Dallas.
But yeah, Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas can definitely make it on the indie scene. He'll be just fine because
he'll get a lot of money.
He has a following. He's good.
Yeah.
One of the other releases, Tucker, put out a tweet. He said, "Freedom, baby." That came out shortly after his release. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder in WWE, tweeted after Chelsea Green's release saying, I was literally making a post about how this past year has been a blessing in disguise as the news of these releases broke. You will all be fine. Work your ass off. Create your own opportunities. I love you at Chelsea Green. You are a fucking star. That is from Matt Cardona.
Yeah, Chelsea Green already does. She got some new merch up on Pro Wrestling Tees, going back to her old indie gimmick. I was going to talk about her actually. I think Chelsea Green is insanely talented, and she would have actually done very good on the main roster if she hadn't gotten injured when she did. So it's very unfortunate that she is in this situation, but she is going to make a killing wherever she goes. She is someone who does have a lot of experience behind her, and we'll talk about some of the other women's stars. She is someone that could very much help the AEW women's division in terms of just getting some experience there. And that's the main story I think I'm taking out of this, is the women's stars that could very much help that women's division in AEW.
And I'm going to share my screen here for a second. I want to show a tweet that Chelsea Green actually put out right after her release. It said, "Welcome back. It's been a while." And it's her in a crazy gimmick. I think that was before her WWE time. Correct me if I'm wrong. But definitely excited to see what Chelsea Green is going to do. She's definitely going to be doing a lot of shows alongside Matt, I'm sure.
Yeah,
with them both being gone from WWE, it is kind of a shame because I really thought that Chelsea Green was going to be, call me crazy, but I think she was going to be one of the next big woman on the main roster. And
I agree with you. Yeah,
I thought she was going to take that Robert Stone brand thing far, and unfortunately, I don't really see the Robert Stone brand making it much farther since Chelsea's left.
Well, she's been gone. She's been gone out of the Robert Stone brand for almost a year now, so I don't think that's where it was. Even when she debuted on the main roster, she had ditched the gimmick. What I think is interesting for Chelsea Green is her former tag team partner back in NXT was Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo is the current Impact Knockouts champion. So could she return to go to Impact, which Impact actually has knockout tag team championship belts? So they could go after that team. I don't know the team name that holds the belts, but they could team up in Impact and go after those tag belts if they wanted to.
Definitely.
Matt Cardona is also in Impact right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of these comments. Mad Dog says Joe at AEW. Definitely very possible. I think Joe has been an indie guy forever before WWE. So if anybody's gonna go to AEW, I think Joe would be one of those guys that either that or maybe a return to Impact is inevitable. But I think he's more AEW bound because Joe fit more in the TNA era more than he does in the Impact era. Who got released? We did just discuss that. Okay, sorry. These comments are like almost 7 minutes old. Apparently you got released, Kaden. I would hope. Sorry, not happy with WWE releasing Samoa Joe. Wasted talent. Well, here's the thing about WWE releasing Samoa Joe is that I think Samoa Joe told him that he doesn't plan on coming back anytime soon, or either that it was vice versa, and they didn't really have any plans for him past commentary. And it's like, Samoa Joe's good on commentary, but I'm sure he wanted to go back and wrestle sometime soon, and maybe WWE wouldn't let him. So
Joe 100% wants to be back in the ring. He's wanted to. I think that he did put out a tweet 46 minutes ago and said "Be well," and it was a gif of someone bowing. It looks like I think it's Jim Carrey bowing. So I wouldn't be. I don't know. I saw someone mentioning that it could possibly be that he's going to be signed to a commentary contract. I don't think that's where they're going to go, considering they've already replaced him on Raw commentary, and I think they're going to do something. I don't know what we're going to see for SmackDown tomorrow night. If he does, it would be SmackDown, and I mean it's possible after WrestleMania because everybody loved seeing Michael Cole and Samoa Joe together. I think Joe's going to want to wrestle though. I don't think he's done.
George Lewis says, don't need to put Samoa Joe on the talent roster. Well, they may have done that, but he's released. So, that probably came right before.
While you're talking, I'm going to go check out the rosters to see if if anyone's been listed in the alumni section yet.
Yeah. So, Willie says they released Bo and we don't get the new Wyatt Family Fiend edition. I wouldn't really want that anyways. Green just got injured on TV last time she was on it. Well, Green has a history of injuries, so.
Yeah.
The last of the social outcasts said Damien. Listen, they had to pay Bad Bunny somehow. That's true. Peyton Royce getting released. My goodness, I can't believe it. I don't know why you're so surprised that Peyton Royce got released. It was
We'll
pretty.
talk about Peyton Royce in a minute. I got some thoughts on her and Billie Kay, obviously.
And actually, you should stop bringing up tag teams to the main roster. That's true.
Yeah, Samoa Joe is currently listed in the alumni section.
Okay. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce tag teaming in AEW. Thoughts, David Sanderson? I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised by it, but they don't have a tag division for the women. So I think Impact's more likely for them if they want to tag.
Yeah, I think Impact would be a place for them to go. Maybe even Ring of Honor. I don't know. But I think maybe Impact, if they wanted to go back to being a tag team, of course. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele, the Impact Women's Tag Team Champions. Okay. It's Matt Cordona's fault. Chelsea got released. He never should have talked shit.
I
don't think it's Matt.
There's no correlation there because Lana would have gotten fired. Renee would have gotten fired a lot earlier than when she left. Peyton would have gotten fired 2 years ago. Like there's a lot of people who have connections with AEW.
Right. Wesley Blake, Tucker, Samoa Joe, Kalisto, Bo Dallas, Mickie James.
Yeah, the list of
okay. Yep. Now both Iconics are gone. WWE should have put the title on Joe. # Joe to AEW, says Jason Ryder.
So if I'm sorry, I'll let you go first.
Go ahead.
So if I'm AEW, I get Joe as soon as possible. I don't know if they have 90-day no competes. I would assume they do, but the last release, which was Andrade, did not have a no compete. So I want to see what happens with these contracts.
Right, but you also have to.
Joe can go. I have Joe go in and either take that title off of Kenny, no matter what plans you have, or you give him the TNT. You should make Joe a champion as soon as you can, because that's going to be a draw.
I see Joe going heel, and I see him joining Team Taz.
I could see him. I don't know if he would join Team Taz, but there's the tie to TNA there. I could see him definitely coming and going, taking the title off Darby. I would not have a single issue if Joe went and took that title off Darby in 3 months.
Okay. Will Rally Sport Rally says, what a shock today. Hope Nikki Cross and Murphy do not get released. Feel awful for Chelsea Green. She should go to Impact with her fiance, Matt Cardona. Samoa Joe. What a shock. Yeah. So reading this, I think, unfortunately, Nikki Cross, if they're going to release any more people, should probably be one of those people because she is better as an independent wrestler at this point. It doesn't really look like WWE has future plans for her. And if I was in WWE and I was on the creative team, I wouldn't have future plans for her, really. She's exhausted that Alexa Bliss feud. Either that or maybe try to change her back to the crazy gimmick because when they turned her face, that's when everything went downhill. So
go back to Crazy Nikki.
Go back to Crazy Nikki or get out.
Crazy Nikki and Rhea Ripley could have a very good feud.
They really could.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to say I hope someone gets released. It's a lot of if you got there.
Forgotten Sons got forgotten. That's true.
Like a lot of the people there are very talented. And I mean, the Forgotten Sons, I'm really upset that Wesley Blake was the one that got released over Cutler. Or not Cutler, Riker, sorry.
It's so interesting that you say that because, Jackson Riker is the one that basically single-handedly cost these guys his careers, but he's the one that's still in WWE making the money. And
which is disappointing because I thought they were going to have Blake and Murphy team back up. They had that very solid tag team in NXT that I actually really enjoyed. I went back and watched some of their matches with Enzo and Cass, and that was a good team. And I would have wanted to see them return back together because Murphy has nothing going on either, and it would very much help the tag division. It seems like when you get rid of these depth people, you're not getting rid of people that are going to be main eventers, right? You're not going to unless it's a Samoa Joe, which is a very rare instance. And a lot of times you're getting rid of those tag team people. So like the Iconics, you're getting rid of tag wrestlers right there. Billie Kay was in the tag team turmoil. So that's a tag team that's now gone, her and Carmella. Peyton Royce was in a tag team with Lacey Evans before Lacey got pregnant and entered the feud with Charlotte. That's a tag team immediately gone. Then both were actually a tag team too, if you remember them winning the tag team championships. Everyone remembers the Iconics as one of the more famous women's tag teams in WWE in the last few years. And so this is it's getting rid of that tag depth. You have your main guys at the top, but this eliminates all of your tag depth right there.
Right, because they are eliminating all the legitimate tag teams from WWE, and they're just throwing people together
Yeah,
instead.
I
It
mean,
makes no
you
sense.
you look at the list of releases and who was in a tag team: Peyton and Billy. Then you have Joe. His last thing was when he was tagging with Kevin Owens and the Viking Raiders. You have Tucker, who was in a tag team with Otis. Bo Dallas was in a tag team with Curtis Axel. Kalisto was in the Lucha House Party. I mean, most of the people that got released, and Wesley Blake was in the Forgotten Sons. Like the people that got released are tag wrestlers that were in tag teams. It's further making your tag division, which is already looked down upon as a bad tag division, it's just making it a lot worse.
Right, right. And when it comes to the tag division, I don't know where WWE is going to go at this point because you only have so much you can do with the tag division. Most of the tag division is already feuded with each other. Even when you switch them up in the draft again, most of them have already feuded with each other. I mean, what are you going to do? Call MSK up already?
Yeah.
Like, come on. It doesn't make sense to me because now you got the upcoming NXT tag teams.
Yeah.
You got Legado del Fantasma. If they last to the main roster, they might Santos, I think, will go off on his own, but they'll still have Raul Mendoza.
Hey, I got breaking news for AEW's rating poll last night.
What?
1.2 million.
It's to be expected.
That is the most since their debut.
Right. Yeah, and that's to be expected because that has to be the most since their debut because that's the first night they've had no competition. They literally garnered more than half their viewership.
That's not what we're going to talk about a lot. I just want to
2 times their viewership.
That's breaking news.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I believe NXT did 800,000, correct?
Yeah. I mean, so this with Joe, with Peyton, with Billy, and Mickie James. I want to talk about Mickie James for a second. Mickie James should 100% go to AEW, not to wrestle. I think she should wrestle there, but put people over. I mainly want her there because she's going to be very good backstage for those women that have not wrestled on TV. That is what they needed. Vicky Guerrero was a very good person that I liked having backstage. She is someone else that can help. They have Thunder Rosa there backstage. Mickie James has all that experience. Go bring her there too. Bring in Mickie. That adds a lot of prestige immediately to your division.
Steven, you were such an asshole. So Mad Dog says Triple H's contract expires soon. Do you guys see him retiring? Yes and no. To me, at least, I see him retiring. Yeah, I think he might have another match, and then that might be it. But after that, obviously he's not going to lead WWE. He's basically slated to be the next owner of the company.
Yeah.
AEW always. Oh, sorry, I didn't get your take on this, Caden.
No, I think he's going to be done in the next probably year or two. He's made it clear he doesn't want to wrestle anymore. That's why that supposed match with AJ and Triple H for Mania 37 never happened. I don't think Triple H wanted to get in the ring. So I think he's done. I don't think he has that passion anymore to be in the ring. I think his passion lies behind the scenes.
Right. And that happens with a lot of wrestlers nowadays. But Damien Joe says AEW always gives newcomers to the company a world title shot before they're established talent. Why?
Because they're established elsewhere, right? If you're an established talent, I do like that. A lot of people hate on it. I think it actually makes a lot of sense because you're trying to, and especially with the Wednesday Night Wars. Now I don't think it's going to happen as much. But when you were going head to head with NXT, you had to go for that ratings grab. So if they are an established talent elsewhere and they have a big following coming in, it would make no sense not to have them go straight for the title or put them in a big main event scene almost immediately. I mean, that's what WWE did with Keith Lee when they brought him up from NXT. They put him right in that picture with Drew and Randy Orton in August. So I don't see a really big issue with that. WWE does it from time to time. Finn Balor debuted on the main roster and won the Universal Championship like a month later. Like, it's not just AEW that does this. A lot of companies do this.
Right. And Victor Nash says just Triple H retires. He'll be the CEO of NXT, of course. Kalisto, former United States champion and former WWE Tag Team champion. If correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know if Lucha House Party won the tag champs.
No, I'm talking about the Lucha Dragons.
Oh, with the no, they were NXT. I think they were NXT tag champs. I don't know if they ever won the main ones.
Okay.
I think that's Hall of Famer. Roster. I don't know. I didn't watch them.
I think Mickie James is in the Hall of Fame. I don't.
No, Mickie James is not. Mickie James is not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, she needs to be.
I don't think she is.
He's rich. No way. Mickie James needs to go to Impact.
Impact would be okay, but Impact's had this kind of they've had an issue in the last few months of doing stuff like that where they're having the older wrestler come in. They just did that feud with Deonna Purrazzo and Jazz where Jazz had her career match, which is why she's retired now because she lost. So I think it's reusing that storyline a little too much. If anything, Mickie James goes to NWA with Nick Aldis, her husband, and it goes for Serena Deeb for that NWA Women's Championship, which I would be very happy with.
Mickie James is married to Nick Aldis?
Yeah. She's Mickie James Aldis.
Why am I just finding out about this? Okay.
Yeah. That's why she got that heat. That's why she had heat backstage when she returned because Nick Aldis called out Bruce Pritchard. So she had some heat backstage when she returned a few months ago.
Okay. So one last little segment I want to do here, and then we'll wrap up. Is where these people are gonna go in the future. We've already talked about Samoa Joe. We've already talked about Bo Dallas. We've already talked about Mickie James and Chelsea Green, but we haven't talked about all the others. Where do we think Billie Kay? Or no, we've already talked about Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
Well, we can go. We can go again. We'll just give where we think they're gonna go quickly for each person.
So Samoa Joe, I'm just gonna quickly say AEW. Bo Dallas just high school gyms, really just independent shows. Nothing big. Bo Dallas, I think it's just going to be independent wrestling. He's not going to go to another major promotion. Maybe ROH.
I'm going to say ROH for Bo Dallas or MLW.
Yeah. He seems like one of those type guys. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce probably Impact. Mickie James, I'm going to say Impact. I don't know why, but I feel like Impact.
When you're talking about this too, you have to remember the deals people have with other companies. So look, Impact and AEW have a deal with each other. And NWA and AEW have a deal with each other too. So when you're talking about that, you also, I think that is part of what you need to consider. So when people are saying Peyton Royce and Billie Kay should go to AEW, they can go to, technically speaking, they could go to NWA, AEW, or Impact and just sign with one of them. If they sign with AEW, then they have NWA and Impact to go to pretty much. If you sign with Impact, you only have AEW. NWA, you only have AEW. You don't have the other. Yeah. Which is why AEW is a big place where people would want to go, right? You have all those connections to the other companies.
Right. So that's Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Or no, that was Mickie James. Sorry, what am I saying?
Mickie James. Mickie James at AEW.
Chelsea Green, I either have Ring of Honor or Impact.
I'm going to go with Impact.
Okay. Tucker, high school gyms. He unfortunately Tucker's gonna be.
He'll get some buzz a little bit because he has that WWE stuff on his back, right? He's got that name,
right?
So it's gonna get him a few bookings.
I think for Tucker, he has to develop a character in the Indies, or he's gonna have to find a new career. I'm sorry, it's not gonna. He's not a good singles competitor. Yeah. He doesn't have a character. He needs a character.
And make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Everywhere.
Make sure if you're enjoying this wrestling stream, make sure to share this to all your wrestling timelines and platforms. I am the technician. I am joined today by Ken Dirt Sheets, and we were talking about all the releases that happened earlier today in WWE. So Wesley Blake, I don't really know because I never really saw Wesley Blake wrestle.
Either ROH.
Okay.
If Murphy gets released, him and Murphy, I would guess possibly might go tag together somewhere and get some money off that.
Okay. Kalisto. I think he might go back. I think not go back. I think either AAA or maybe do something in Japan.
Japan would make sense. I think he might go do some bookings over in New Japan. Strong, the U.S. version of New Japan right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a place for high flyers.
I think Bo Dallas could also go to New Japan Strong a little bit. That's the kind of style of wrestling. You got people like Chris Dickinson over there. That's where he could go and get some bookings with New Japan.
Right.
I could see Joe doing New Japan as well. I wouldn't be surprised for Joe to go to New Japan.
Right. And I think, that's everybody that we covered. There's
I'm going to – Damian Jones saying it's okay to skip the line of seeing join the company and get a title shot, even though it's done in other companies, does not necessarily mean it should be done in AEW. I don't have an issue with it. If the person is booked well, that's fine. I would like them, and I said this about Rhea Ripley, I would like them to at least have some wins under their belt, which everybody did. Brody, so like if you're talking about being hot-shotted to the title, the main people I can think about are Brody Lee, who Brody Lee had some solid wins under him before he went against Moxley, and Brian Cage, who had the title shot against Moxley because he won their version of Money in the Bank, which immediately gets you a title shot. So I don't have an issue with that. And Brian Cage was also made look like a monster before fighting Mox as well. I can't think of any other people that were fast-tracked to the title. Christian, a lot of people will say he's in a feud with Kenny. He wasn't. They did that for the ratings pop, and he has not been close to Kenny Omega since then. And he's also having to wrestle matches. So Christian is not going straight for the title either. Whenever they do it, they do their best to make it make sense at least. That's I'm comparing to Rhea Ripley's issue, which Rhea Ripley just did not have a win.
Right. So we'll have to see on all of them. I think that's about everybody that we had to cover today.
Yeah. Victor Nash saying Kalisto to AEW with the Lucha Brothers. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
it's not a bad idea, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It doesn't make sense. I don't think Kalisto I can look into it to see and give an update, but I don't think Kalisto has ties with the Lucha Brothers.
Right, and he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to change his name when he he's outside of WWE, because WWE did come up with Sin Cara and Kalisto's.
I think that's just throwing the Luchas together, and that's why that's part of it. It's throwing the Luchas together. I mean that.
Right. But Kalisto,
Luchas in this country.
He was talented, and honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with it if Death Triangle broke up. But as long as Death Triangle is still together, it doesn't make sense to throw Kalisto in there. It's just too many people.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure. The Lucha Brothers, as far as I'm aware, have no connection with Sin Cara or Kalisto. So I don't think it really makes any sense for him to go join them, unless you're just saying, oh, because he's a luchador, he should be with the other luchadors. I mean, AAA has all the 50,000 luchadors there. So that's where I think he would probably want to go back to Mexico and go to AAA, do some stuff there.
Right, and it's funny that you mentioned AAA. I think Kenny's the heavyweight champion of AAA, right?
Kenny's the heavyweight champion, so they could do Kenny Omega and Kalisto, which would be very entertaining.
I can see it.
Damian Jones saying, do you think Aleister Black gets released? I checked. I've been keeping up with Sean Ross Sapp. I find him to be probably the most trustful out of the dirt sheets that I like to look at. He was saying, and I'm going to make this very clear, he was told by his sources to not expect an Aleister Black release, but that source also said that about other people that did get released today.
Okay.
So I think we're done.
Chris is going to hate me, and you're going to hate me for this question. You know what question's about to come. What do you think? I think there's a possibility. I said this in the group chat. I think Ricochet might be getting prone to get released, but I think they actually might have future plans for him, and they don't want to. They know they've been keeping him on the back burner or main event, but he's consistently been on TV. So
I think they don't see Ricochet as a threat. I think they see Ricochet as a threat somewhere else. I think Joe should be seen as a threat, but I think because of his age, they're not worried about that. Ricochet is younger. I don't think they see Peyton as a threat. I love Peyton. I love Billy. I love a lot of other people are talented people. Like Tucker, you guys, I know you were kind of talking about Tucker not a character and not great in singles. He still made it to WWE, so he did something right. But they don't see them as threats. Someone like a Ricochet, like an Aleister Black, that's why they were never released. They are threats. They would be a major draw somewhere else because of the cult following they have. Joe has that same following as Ricochet and Aleister Black and is a draw. I think a bigger draw than both of those guys, actually. But he's also a lot closer to retirement.
Right.
That's why I think they were okay with releasing him.
Right. So, yeah, I have to agree with you. Joe is constantly getting injured. Younger guys, like Ricochet, Aleister Black, form a tag team together, and we've seen what they can do in the ring. I have to disagree with you.
Elias is not going to get released anytime soon.
No, they use him as more of just comedic relief and entertainment.
They love him.
They love Elias. So
he started 2 back-to-back Royal Rumbles in the 1 and 2 spot.
Right. But
Right,
yeah,
well,
besides that, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
no, I was gonna say let's go ahead and wrap this up. I gotta get going in a minute.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this was UPR releases edition. If you want to call it that. My name is the technician David Saracen. I am alongside Caden Dirtsheets today. Caden, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Unpopular Review.
Sure.
And we will see you guys tonight for UPR Entertainment. Make sure to go check them out. I believe they are doing a double header tonight. As far as I saw in the post, we got a Goofy movie and Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Those episodes kick off at I believe 9:30, right, Chris? Yeah. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys tonight for entertainment.